Good evening, Fernwood. It is your TV pal Neil, and it is time for more late-night variety madness with the next episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you've never seen my face before, I've been reacting to all of the episodes of Mary Hartman, which I finished just last week, and we're continuing that tradition here with Fernwood Tonight. If that sounds like it is your bag, then stick around. We're going to watch the show together, and then we'll talk about it. Yesterday we introduced a new rising star with baby Irene, who came out and did a little song and dance. Then Dr. Richard Osgood returned to remind us that leisure suits cause cancer. We got a look into the process of how this scientific discovery was made, including the tiny little suits that they make the rats wear to see how they interact. And then we introduced a new segment called Bury the Hatchet, during which Barth brought out a family that were having some troubles, like a mother and father who were really concerned that their son was involved with a dangerous cult called the Catholic Church. We closed out the show with baby Irene and Howie Porter teaming up for a soft shoe number that Barth called The Muse and the Machine. Everyone, this show has some wackadoodle going on, so I guess we better wackadoo it.
Tonight, coming to you live with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble. Tonight, Barth's guest will be April McTeer with the amazing language of her body. Consumer advisor Lou MOFFETT. Consumer Susan Cloud. Barth's father, Garth Gimble Sr., an older yet somehow elderly man. Happy Kine and the Mirth Makers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. And now your host and mine, Mr. Barth Gimble.
Thank you so much for all the terrific support and response. I really appreciate it. I gotta just tell you, everyone's been so nice to me since we started this show, and, well, a little late again, aren't we, Jerry?
Thought I'd jump on the moving train before it gets going too fast.
Yeah, well, you hit the caboose. Generally, everyone's been very good. Something kind of interesting happened just a moment ago. I was backstage in our dressing room, and we'll call it that for now. I shouldn't make fun of the dressing room, really. They went to a lot of trouble on my behalf. They know how much I love tar paper.
But I was radio in there, too, didn't they?
Yeah. I was back there. Knock at the door, young fella come in and say, "Hey, Barth, you got a minute?" And I said, "A minute? Make it an hour, because I'm that way." And so I said, "What's on your mind?" I gave him the benefit of the doubt there. And he said, well, he had some questions. So I said, "Let's sit down." So the two of us sat down, and I had coffee. And we were talking a little bit. And he said, "Barth, I'm kind of interested. How does a guy as young as yourself get to be as talented as you are?" And I gave him an honest answer. I told him, you get a head start from some people. And in my case, it was my dad that helped me out more than anybody else. My dad is living proof that behind every man that makes it, there's an older man. And that would be his father.
Yes, very well put.
A lot of times, of course, when a star does rise right up to the top, and they do that all the time, first thing they do is buy their parents a beautiful big ranch home out in Arizona or something like that. But I couldn't really do that, because I said, "Hey, where's the man's dignity in a case like that? You buy him a house, living in a house that he didn't pay for." So I did something else. I got him a job. I got him a job right here with the station, to be perfectly honest. And he lives with me now. He's going to be living in, we live in the apartment that my departed brother had. Well, he had it all paid up for the year, and as long as the year is still paid for, I figured, why can't we live there together as good friends? We'll stay till the lease runs out. It's kind of comforting, too, to know that you can wake up in the night and know that that dad that means so much of you is just as close as the couch down in the living room. It's kind of a nice feeling. So I got him a job here at Channel 6. He's with us tonight. Without further ado, please welcome my father, Mr. Garth Gimble Sr. Dad.
That's a first-class uniform.
Hi, Dad. How do you like the business so far?
Well, very good. I guess so.
I'll bet with security being as important as it is to a person your age, old, I should imagine it's kind of nice to be able to get your security right in the form of a uniform on a hanger, huh?
Well, I'm happy to be here, living in your late brother's house.
Yes.
And listen, this job's going to pay half my rent.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't you tell me earlier that the lease on your brother's house was paid up for a year?
No.
But you said that the real estate...
Anyway, thanks for coming on the show. It's good to see you 3 days in a row after not seeing you for so many, many years. Yeah. Incidentally, Dad, I was really kind of sorry to hear about Mom. She was a great gal.
I'm sure she was, guys. But let's get on with the show, fellas, because
Her will, did she...
I happen to know the first real guest.
Nothing?
And she has a class in town where she teaches her students to get into top physical shape, and then through the language of the body, they learn how to express feelings and emotions physically through the body rather than verbally, much
Sounds
like
fascinating.
Well, let's find out how fascinating it is. So let's get together and welcome the body language of April McTeer. Come on out, April. Every movement she makes has a meaning now. Now, this is sort of a, well, she's kind of saying like, hello. It's greeting the day. You notice she's not speaking except through her body. All right.
Now, what would this one be here?
Well, kind of like she's stretching her feelings. That's it. Now she's extending herself. All right, she's feeling a little bit down now and a little bit confused, as you can see.
all wrapped up in herself.
Yes, almost. Now that shows kind of a concern with what's happening in the world today. You know, the oil prices and the crime situation and all.
And away with the rocking, like balancing the bucket.
That's a little, thumbs have a meaning.
Very, very good. Well,
Now it makes my back hurt just to watch that. April, come on over.
Come on over and talk to us.
I think she's having a little problem there.
We'll go over there.
Yeah, why don't we jump over there?
Okay.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
You're looking great. Just looking fine.
It's wonderful being on the program. I'm a little nervous.
Well, of course you are.
My first time on television.
Now, I understand you, April. I understand you teach a course here in this exercise kind of thing. Does
Yes,
anyone ever
she
get
does.
hurt or hurt themselves or other people?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. My students really enjoy my classes. And, in fact, anybody can do it.
Really?
Yes.
Do you think Bart could do it?
Oh,
Myself?
yes. In fact, here, let me help you take off your jacket.
No, please, no.
And
We'll be right back after this word.
Jackie, please.
Our next guest is a man we hope to see a lot of here in Fernwood tonight. He's kind of a freelance troubleshooter on behalf of you consumers, investigating rip-offs around the state. And he's here tonight to share some of his findings with us. Will you please welcome with me Mr. Lou MOFFETT. Well, what have you got for us tonight, Lou?
Well, one of the crusades I'm conducting all around the country is consumer protection against consumer fraud of household appliances. You know, it's appalling how many housewives are bamboozled while they're taken apart by so many faulty appliances that's going on today. You know, it's a marvelous public service allowing me to come here tonight and demonstrate to folks how not to get ripped off next time they're shopping.
Okay, well, you have a demonstration for us?
As a matter of fact, I do, Garth. Thank you very much.
Go to town here.
You see this item right here? Looks expensive, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Well, this number retails for $39.95. They advertise that a puree's julienne slices and dices does none of those things. And as a matter of fact, it has faulty wiring. You plug this thing and it could explode any minute. Definitely shoddy material. Not acceptable at all. Rip-off. Absolutely. See this number right here?
That's right.
Right. $49.95 this one retails for. Again, they have a 1-year guarantee on this number. But I know the folks back there that make this, those people, they couldn't fix breakfast.
Let alone repair one of these. I mean.
Again, shoddy material, not acceptable. You know, as I travel across the length and breadth of this great country, thank you very much. I'd like to do a little public relations, if I might, if you don't mind. For the fruit with perhaps the worst image in the entire garden of health, of course, the lemon. We laugh at it, don't we? Don't you laugh at the lemon? Sure. If you get a bad car, you say, gee, it's a lemon. Don't you say that? Sure. Your wife is acting up, or your husband says that he's tired every night. You say, well, I really got a lemon there instead of a peach. Don't you say that? Well, you notice that I'm peeling the lemon right here. And what's inside the lemon, of course? A little souvenir of tonight. What's inside the lemon, of course? I can keep that. It's all right. Are your bioflavonoids. The citron increasing the glycogen storage all up and down your capillary tract. And that's important too, isn't it, Mother? You bet. But what do you do with the lemon peel at home? What do you do with the peel, Mother? You throw it right down the drain. Don't you do that? Well, let me tell you something. If your drain at home had a stomach, it would be the best-fed member of your family. Because right down here in the lemon peel, we got your vitamin A, vitamin B, thiamine, niacin, riboflavin, and your pantothenate. Wow. You're going to throw that away, huh, Mother? No, sir. We're going to add this right here, right inside Blend-O-Matic, the Wonder Blender. Let's turn this on now. You can hear the sound of the powerful engine down there, Mother. Powerful engine. You know, something else we're all concerned with today is ecology, preservation of the natural resources. So what you want to do, you want to avoid waste, you want to avoid waste packaging. So let's take a tip from nature now and take a good hard look at the egg. Go ahead and take a good hard look at it. You notice how the egg comes pre-packaged all in its own little white container? Compact, isn't it? Well, tell me something. What is inside the egg? Sir, go right ahead. Tell me what is inside the egg. Exactly right. Your agenine, histidine, 3-neonine, and your phelanoline. Thank you very much. Well, what about the shell here, friends? Is that something you just paint with a lot of fag colors at Easter time? No, sir, friends. What the shell here has got are your trace minerals. Calcium, copper, cobalt, selenium, molybdenum, zinc, iron, and manganese. That's all right in here. We're not going to throw that away. Let's add the entire egg right here. Exciting, wasn't it? Into Blend-O-Matic, the Wonder Blender. You know, friends, just recently, a peace team of United Nations observers wandered into the Pietrosu Valley of northern Romania. But they made an important discovery there, those UN observers, that every man, woman, and child in the entire Pietrosu Valley, there was something extraordinary about them, friends. No warts. And they checked the church records on that, too. As a matter of fact, they were wart-free, friends, because they drank only certified raw, unpasteurized milk, just the way God and old Bossy gave it to us. With your lauric, palmitic, and capriotic acids, your globulin, lactobumin, hypoxanthine, and lactochrome. Boy, what a mouthful of goodness that was, wasn't it? Sure. Well, let me stir this up a little. Look at all that goodness grinding up in there. So let's start off with something sweet. I don't mean sweet with sugar, the kind you buy in a store. Of course, something naturally sweet. Of course, the vanilla bean. Let's put one of those in there. A little bit of bog bean, Canadian snake root, some of that in there. The African beet rose, let's put some of that in there. Canadian snake root, a little bit of that in there. The popular buffalo herb, let's pour some of that right in there. Japanese knotweed, almost anywhere. Japanese knotweed, a little bit of coriander, and some kelp. Boy, does that look good, doesn't it? Sure. You know, before I turn this on, friends, I'd like to turn you on to something. What I'm concerned about is health. Not only your health and my health, but the health of everybody here in this great land of ours. That's right, I'm talking about the United States of America. And I'm not ashamed to stand up here and tell you that I love it. Thank you. And I know if you're as patriotic as I am, you'll want one of these blenders in your home tonight. That's why we cut the price on they cut the price on this number. It's down now to just $19.95, and that's complete, friends, with a beautiful avocado base, the 7-speed selector switch, and you can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
That's fabulous.
Isn't it?
Sounds like a real worthwhile bargain, Lou. Where can somebody pick up a Wonder Blender like this?
As a matter of fact, if they send cash, stamps, or a money order to Wonder Blender, P.O. Box 89110, Fernwood, Ohio 45989.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let me repeat that. Wonder Blender, P.O. Box 89110, Fernwood, Ohio 45909. But up to date.
Well, thank you very much, Lou. The public needs watchdogs like you, and I hope you continue in your good work in the crusade against consumer ripoffs. We'll be right back after this important. Here we are back, and I'm sure everyone here in Fernwood is going to agree with me that it's a pretty good feeling to know we have watchdogs like Lou out here taking care of the consumer. Am I right? How about it? As the night people of Fernwood know, we have some pretty darn nice restaurants here in town. Some good eating there.
Yes.
There's a brand new one opening up that's going to revolutionize the dining habits of Fernwood. The name of the restaurant is the Butterfly Deli. Kind of catchy, isn't it?
Yeah.
They specialize in organic foods, health foods, and vegetarian specialties. That'd be all that health food stuff.
Good.
I'd like you to meet the young lady behind this idea. She's the owner, manager, and chief chef, it's kind of hard to say, of the Butterfly Deli, Miss Susan Cloud.
Well, let's bring her in. Sit over here.
Why don't you just come over here, dear?
And I'll sit
Make
there.
yourself comfortable. Nice to see you. Nice of you to come.
Thanks. It's like really together of you to have me.
Well, thank you very much, dear. How did you get interested in natural foods?
Well, it like came to me, you know. I was hungry and they were there, so like I ate them. I got into natural foods shortly after they got into me. You see, because I believe in, like, the karma of food. I do not choose to eat anything which, under different circumstances, might possibly choose to eat me. Are you digging it so far?
Oh, I'm certainly digging it, yes.
Okay, you...
No question.
Pardon?
No question that I'm digging it. I'm sorry.
Great, then no answer.
I'd like to dig some more. So.
Oh, okay. Well, what I feel is that, well, I guess you can't call it favoritism, but I am like into Hmong and Hmong products.
Hmong?
And Hmong. Oh. You know, are you like into Hmong?
Not that I know of, no. I don't know.
Well, it's like there are some excellent Hmong substitutes on the market for those of you on a Hmong-free diet, and I have like a little Hmong surprise for you.
You don't?
Yeah, you look like you could like be Hmongy, you know, so I made you like a little string of Hmong, etc. And I like expect to see you wearing it every time I see you.
Oh, my goodness. You've gone to an awful lot of trouble here, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, I didn't wash the dirt off or anything, so...
This is,
Oops, extra Hmong.
Oh, there's a little bit of Hmong for you. Pop tart.
That's kind of a souvenir there. I'll take a piece of that.
Oh, my, it's a belt of some sort.
No, it's like a necklace, but it could be a belt. Who am I to say what its purpose might be?
Well, I'll just flip this on here. How's it? It kind of goes with the shirt, doesn't it? Very nice of you. That's good. Comes in its own little case.
Keep away.
That's one of it. Did you bring anything for Jerry?
Yes, I sure did.
Whoa.
I brought you a potato.
Well.
It's kind of small now, but like share your love and maybe it'll grow.
And how would he wear that?
Oh.
Well, it would make like a real cute belt buckle, or perhaps,
Just like a good luck charm. Carry it around until it,
yeah, you might have a special pocket made for it if you'd like.
The potato pocket.
Yeah, though I don't really believe in pockets myself.
I see. Are you strictly a vegetarian, then?
Oh, yes.
So you eat no meat whatsoever?
Right, except for like burgers. You look aghast, but the human body like requires burgers. You see, a little known fact that they don't teach you in American schools, but like I've been to India and back, is that burgers are what this country was founded on. And personally, like through my meditation and not meditation, I have decided that we are like all hooked into one big cosmic burger. Personally, haven't you ever really felt like relish?
Susan, it's been great talking to you. You should overlooking the world with your new restaurant. Susan, do you ever use a blender in your work?
Oh, not to my knowledge.
You never used a blender? Well, my golly, after you use one, I'm sure you'll never give up using it. In fact, I happen to have one right here.
Absolutely.
Would you like to have one of these?
Oh, that would be like cool.
Do you have cash?
You have cash?
Yes, I don't believe in pockets, so I just use my natural crevice.
Or isn't that nice?
How much was that?
1995.
Okay, will you just
Okay. Oh, it's still
take
warm.
a little something, please?
This is our gang.
Thank you. Happy Kind in the orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, my dad wants to be in show business in the worst possible way, and that's why we have him here tonight on Fernwood Tonight. I got him a job here at the station as a security guard, but it just wasn't good enough. It didn't really satisfy him completely. He wants to be under the hot lights of showbiz. We can blame him. So please, would you give a warm Fernwood Tonight welcome to my father, Mr. Garth Gimble Sr.
Thank you very much. Hey, thank you very much. This is just my pet, you know, and I've just been fooling around with him, and he's done so many tricks. I don't know whether it's the way I teach him or whether he just all that smart. I really don't know. But we've had quite a love affair, and we have such a rapport. We communicate a lot closer, I think, than human beings. So I'm going to show you, and watch how quick he responds. I think that's the main thing. It's just how quick and that shows how eager they are to please, if you know what I mean like that. You ready, Angel baby boy? Huh? You can, now wait, Angel, which way you gonna look? That way? Now wait. You sit there, precious. Now wait. I'm so proud of you. He hasn't done anything yet, has he? He's going to. Now wait a minute, I'll tell you when. I'll tell you the minute he does something. Now here we go. You ready, Loopy? Loopy, here, baby. Now here. Now, Louie, look over there. Over there. Yeah, good boy. I'll have him sit up for you, and watch how high he sits up, and he'll sit up longer. I've never known a dog to sit up as long as he does. And the idea is that it's easy to sit up. You have to have a strong back to do it. That's the idea. And he's got the strongest back. Isn't he good? I told you he was good. Come on. Come on. Wait, he's got it now.
I'm sorry, we don't have any more time to wait for Louie to become intelligent.
Burn the monkey blender.
We're out of time for tonight. I want to thank my guests. I think you all know who you are. And we'll be seeing you probably tomorrow night with any kind of luck, quicker than you can say, Wonder Blender, Wonder Blender, Wonder Blender, Wonder Blender. Thank you very much.
Also appearing on tonight's show, April Tatro as April McTeer, Lou Felder as Lou Moffett, and Susan Elliott as Susan Cloud.
Stay tuned for some explosive scenes from Channel 13's world premiere motion picture special, Evening in Byzantium, starring Glenn Ford and Shirley Jones.
Well, okay. We start with Barth and Jerry kind of just joshing a little bit with the audience. Then Barth brings out his father, who has moved into the old Gimble home, which last we saw in Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman was abandoned. And we perhaps have forgotten, and probably for the better, at least for this show, that Garth's father was fairly abusive to him. That's not something that we're thinking about, but it's something that I definitely thought when I was watching this show. Anyway, let's just pretend that's forgotten history, and it's not part of what we're watching today. Barth has got his father a job at the station, right? Studio 6, home of Cleet Meisenheimer and other newsworthy folks. And Garth Sr. seems to not realize that the rent on their apartment has been paid, so Barth is certainly taking a cut there. And then they bring out April McTeague, who is there to show off her body language, and it seems like April is essentially doing a contortionist act, a fairly conventional one, but, you know, she's really flexible. And the bit is Barth and Jerry interpreting this stuff. You know, I don't know that when I look at a contortionist act, I'm necessarily looking at the language that they're trying to speak to me as much as like, ooh, how flexible is this person? And how uncomfortable does it make me feel that I am not that flexible? Reading someone's body and body language is certainly a thing. You know, there's definitely being able to read subtleties in individuals' expression and in their how they hold themselves, etc. This is just a little twist on that, and I feel like at that point in the 70s and early 80s, body language was something that you could find a book about, how to read people's body language. It was sort of a topic of discussion. And then Barth introduces Lou Moffett, who seems to be sort of a consumer advocate. I remember in my youth, there was a guy named David Horowitz who hosted a show called Fight Back, which was all about looking at various products that people were complaining about in the home. That's where I felt like Lou was starting, right? This blender doesn't work and this blender doesn't work, and you know, it's the Wonder Blender that does the trick. He puts in a concoction that looks fairly rank, starting with the peel of a lemon, and not the zest, but the actual whole peel, a whole egg, like uncracked, some kind of white fluid, I assume would be milk, and then various grasses, I guess. He named a lot of things, and he seemed to have some language for them, but sometimes people use words in ways that confuse and bewilder us. The next guest is Susan Moffett, who is a vegetarian health food store owner. As a person who has been vegetarian since the late 80s, it was kind of fun to watch, and I know that the 1970s, there were probably pockets of vegetarian folk around, and health food stores were a thing. I'm sure health food stores still sort of exist, but a lot of them have been replaced by major stores like Whole Foods. In this case, Susan is as hippy-dippy as I think I've seen a character in Fernwood so far. She pretty much seems to have tuned in, turned on, and possibly dropped out, other than the fact that, she's made a mung bean necklace, or not a mung bean necklace, but a mung sprout necklace. I grew up eating mung beans. I think they're delicious. Mung sprouts, not as much as far as my experience. I don't know how they taste, but basically it's an example or a great opportunity for Barth to be wearing something ugly, because that's what that is. And then Barth introduces Garth again, apparently grandfather of Philip, now that I think about it. Garth the Third, I guess. And in this case, Garth Sr. is doing a dog act, which pretty much looks like no dog training, animal training kind of act that I've seen, in the way that Barth basically just maneuvers the dog as though it were a puppet of some kind. I don't have words for exactly what that act is, but it was amusing, and I hope that the dog was feeling it was a kind of play, like playfulness kind of thing, not like a Romeo and Juliet. And that's pretty much where the episode closes. So at this point, let's take a look back at the topic of the week, which I asked back in February, and that was the question of what advice would you give a character from Fernwood? This response today is from Ariel Malanga. They are all so dysfunctional. Maybe I would advise Heather to hit the books, prepare for university, and get the hell out of Fernwood, but I'm not sure that she's talented enough to do that without guidance, and her parents are clearly inept and too self-involved. Loretta and Charlie should adopt a child, maybe even a special needs child. Is there some reason they don't have children? Because they seem to want a child and have the capacity to love and raise a child. I know those are two examples, Neil, but I couldn't help myself. Ariel, of course, I would let that slide because, that gives us some stuff to talk about. Heather, who knows where her path leads? Obviously, we've seen a little bit further than when this question was asked in terms of her life. She's still living with Tom. At this point, this is only a few days after the end of Mary Hartman. So she's still living with Tom. Tom has seemed to recover from his really dark depression, or at least started to make a turn. And yeah, she doesn't have a ton of guidance. Well, Tom was starting to parent a bit toward the end, especially now that Mary is out of the picture. And I can't necessarily speak for Heather's sense of talent, right? Like, we've never seen her be skilled at anything. We've never seen her want much other than to watch My Little Margie or go hang out with friends and go hitchhiking. She's, I think, 13 at this point, so I don't know what I would expect, but it's not an aspect of her personality that I've seen. Probably does need to do more work. I think that she could be taking advice from folks. It's not a part of her personality we've seen yet. That brings to mind that after I finished all of Mary Hartman, I did spend some time reading some of the stuff in the interwebs that exists. And there's a really great blog from Claudia Lamb, who played Heather Hartman. She eventually went on to be a journalist, and she really has one post that stuck out to me about her life growing up as a child actor, and that really tied into her time with Mary Hartman and Forever Fernwood. I feel like she's got 2 or 3 posts in her blog about that. Some of it is really heartbreaking because of the way that her parents took advantage of her. I think probably the easiest way to find those posts is to just Google Claudia Lamb blog, or maybe Claudia Lamb, Mary Hartman. That would be something. That's nothing to do with the character of Heather, other than the fact that, Claudia played Heather, but certainly that is an interesting set of insights at the very least. It's kind of an emotional journey. I feel like Claudia Lamb is someone that went on and had a whole life afterward, which makes sense because she was 13 when she did the show. The second part of Ariel's response was about Charlie and Loretta and that they don't have a child. And this message was written right around the time that they let Johnny Doe go back into the wilderness. They should adopt a child, right? That was the advice here. Ariel missed a lot of the first season of Mary Hartman, and certainly there were episodes that I didn't cover with video footage, right? Like it was just me watching the show. But Charlie and Loretta Haggers had a history of wanting a child very early in the series, and for a little while they thought that Loretta was pregnant. That turned out to mistakenly be a tumor, and that was removed from her. As we've discovered pretty recently, there's a lot of ineptitude in Fernwood, so that's something. So that answers Ariel's question about why they don't have a child, at least at this point. And further attempts to have children involved in their lives have really fallen apart. There was a point at which Charlie's ex, Muriel, came into the picture and told Charlie that she had a child from him. Of course, that was some other story that I'm not going to tell you if you haven't watched it, but that is in the pretty early episodes that I was able to record video for, so around 60-ish is probably where you'd want to start to watch that run with Muriel. She came in a little bit earlier, but I don't have video footage of the episode when she arrived. So everyone, that is the topic of the week. I think we will have more fun stuff to talk about tomorrow. But in the meantime, thanks for sticking around. Thank you for watching this. I appreciate you all. And we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.